New buyers in California get hit with a property tax bill that is 2 to 3 times higher than what the seller was paying, sometimes jumping from a frozen tax rate that's been locked in for decades to a brand new assessment at the new purchase price. And a buyer closes thinking they know exactly what their monthly payments are going to be, but they unpack their boxes and then they get a supplemental tax bill that can feel like an additional mortgage payment they never budgeted for. Prop 13 keeps California taxes low for longtime owners, but new buyers get reassessed immediately. That deal killer surprise happens right after closing before you even feel settled. This is just one of 10 specific deal killers I'm seeing every single month in Ventura and LA County that turn dream homes into rejected deals before buyers even get the keys. And number one is one that I talk about a lot, and that's insurance. And it's a crisis hitting California right now. Stanford research from just the last month shows home insurance premiums are up 84% since 2020. And the state's FAIR Plan enrollment has nearly tripled. That means buyers who used to shop for a home first are now calling their insurance agents before they ever call a lender. This isn't just a wildfire zone problem anymore. Even homes in areas that shouldn't burn are getting forced into the FAIR Plan. And a house that loses private coverage can become an unmortgageable home. I've had buyers get all the way to escrow, everything looks good, and then the insurance quote comes in and completely flips their ratios and they just can't fit it in their budget anymore. At that point, the math doesn't work and they walk away. So if you're selling, get the preliminary insurance quote before you list, because buyers are absolutely going to do their homework right now, and you can do it for them and lower their stress levels. Now, number two might sound simple, but it can be a deal killer. I see it all the time. Buyers in Southern California treat a backyard like an extension of living space, not some extra patch of dirt they might use someday. When the listing says private oasis and the buyer shows up to find a tiny patio with neighbors looking right over the fence, they reject it on the spot. In a market where outdoor living is year-round and a yard with no space for kids, no room for dogs, and zero privacy is a real problem. Buyers walk out and don't look back. Sellers, if you have a yard that is small or exposed, stage it smart and price it honestly, because buyers aren't settling for outdoor spaces that don't work anymore. Along those lines, number three is all the layered cost that out-of-state buyers never see coming. California has HOA fees in almost every newer development. And in some areas, you've also got Mello, Roos, a special tax that is super fun. These aren't small numbers either. We're talking hundreds of dollars per month that don't show up in the listing price. Buyers get laser focused on principal and interest, and they forget to factor in these fixed monthly drains. In a volatile market where every extra $100 matters to the bottom line, an HOA or a Mello Roos surprise can kill a deal right away before you get to the finish line. Before you celebrate a great list price, run the full monthly payment with every fee included. That leads me right into number four. Number five is a financial trap that costs buyers the most money in an escrow. All right, number four is when the house itself is looking like a money pit. Buyers aren't just looking for square footage and granite countertops anymore. They're looking at the roof, the HVAC, the furnace, and windows. They're translating every old system into future repair bill. Back during the buying frenzy, people didn't care, and they bought the deal anyway. But now they're just walking away. In Southern California, the added concern is aging systems, combined with hillside settling and foundation creep. An old roof in a flat Midwest yard is one thing, but an old roof on a home that's also showing signs of settling on a slope is completely different red flag. Deferred maintenance isn't just cosmetic anymore. It's a signal that the seller has been letting the asset degrade and the buyers treat it like a big red flag. Now, the next one is the biggest financial trap I see in escrow right now. Number five is unpermitted ADUs, guest homes, and additions. California ADU boom led to a wave of construction that never got permitted, and the buyers are getting stuck with the bill. Fines can run up into the thousands per day. Retroactive permits fees are 2 or 3 times the original rate, and many buyers learn the hard way that their rental income dream is completely illegal. Insurance carriers are getting pickier too. An unpermitted unit can void your entire policy, and the resale becomes a nightmare because the next buyer's lender will flag the exact same problem. Southern California is full of these, especially in older neighborhoods where homeowners added units during the ADU gold rush. Before you buy a house with a guest house or an extra unit in the back, verify the permits. If the seller can't produce them, you need to price in the cost of legalizing it and walk away. This is very easy to figure out. You can usually go to the county website and find out what permits have been pulled on that property. And as a seller, I suggest you do this before the buyer does. All right, let's completely shift gears. We've been talking about money and paperwork, but number 6 is something you can't fix with money at all. Number 6 is location. Busy roads, power lines, industrial parks, and highway proximity have always mattered, but buyers now drive by before calling their agent. In Southern California, the problem can be more subtle. You've got train tracks, airport flight paths, and hillside access roads that flood in the winter. Buyers will reject a home on a busy road even if the interior is perfect. And in our micro neighborhood market, 2 blocks can mean the difference in school districts, different noise levels, and completely different resale trajectories. You can't change location, so if you're buying, drive the neighborhood at different times of the day, and if you're selling and you're on a busy road, you need to price for it, because buyers aren't forgiving location problems anymore. Now, along those lines, there's another California-specific gotcha that hits your wallet right after closing. I've mentioned it before, but number 7 is the property tax reassessment bomb. Prop 13 keeps California property taxes low for longtime owners, but now buyers get reassessed at the purchase price. That means buyers can go from the seller's low tax bill that was frozen for years to a new bill that's 2 or 3 times higher. Add in a supplemental tax bill that arrives months after closing, and the buyer feels like they're getting hit with a huge cost before unpacking. This is the kind of surprise that catches new buyers off guard. I see this all the time and get requests what this document is post-closing. Now, I tell them during escrows that they're going to see this, but they always forget, and this bill can get large. It's just a one-time assessment. Always run the numbers and figure out an approximation of what this new assessed tax bill is going to be so you can account for it. All right, number 8 is when the problem isn't the house at all. It's the price. The number one reason a house sits on the market too long is always the price. But in Southern California, pricing is even trickier because every micro neighborhood is different. You can have the same floor plan 2 blocks away, different school district, different backyard, and you're looking at completely different value. Buyers who do their homework online can spot a bad comp from a mile away, and a stale listing creates suspicion. After a while, most buyers assume something is just wrong with the property, and they start looking for hidden problems as they walk through. So sellers, price your home against your actual micro neighborhood, not some sale 3 miles away that isn't an actual comparable. A house that sits too long gets stale, and then buyers reject it before walking through the front door. And when the price is wrong, you better believe the seller's attitude is usually part of the problem. Limited showing windows, as is disclaimers, and refusal to negotiate on repairs send a loud message to buyers. Buyers start worrying about what escrow is going to look like for the rest of the 30 days. And if a seller is difficult now, how difficult are they going to be later? And this is a two-way street, buyers. You too can be caught out and become a difficult person to deal with and lose the deal. Tenant-occupied homes are special headaches because the tenants don't want strangers walking through. And in California, disclosure-heavy market, an as-is sale combined with limited access is a red flag that experienced buyers walk away from. Selling a house is difficult and stressful, but if you make it hard for people to see it, it just makes it doubly hard. Don't be surprised when they decide to buy somewhere else. Last but not least, number 10 is the one that costs you 6 figures to fix, and it's everywhere in our hills. Foundation problems and hillside movement are the scariest find during a home inspection in Ventura County and Los Angeles County. We build on hills, stilts, slopes, and that means settling, slippage, or hillside creep is absolutely possible. If the inspection turns up anything that suggests the hill is moving, you need to seriously consider walking away, because you never know how much that repair is going to cost down the road. It can turn your equity into a money pit overnight. It's not something you can fix with a fresh coat of paint. And in our part of Southern California, that is a deal killer that keeps me up at night. Number 11 is a bonus. It's the HOA problem that most people don't see coming. Make sure that when you know that the property is in an HOA, that as a seller, you get the last 2 or 3 minutes from each of the board meetings and their current financial situation, what kind of reserves they have, and if you can see any potential special assessments coming down the road. If you can get these things off the buyer's worry plate, you are a much better negotiating position. If you've run into any of these deal killers in your own search, drop it in the comments below. I read every single message. Stay tuned, because next we're going to talk about what sellers need to fix before they ever put the yard sign in. And as always, I have a link to my free seller's workbook below. It's free. It's a great way to make sure that you can get yourself a zero stress sale. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.